Steve, what do you think about the way the Kings took a 26-point deficit, transformed that into just a 4-point deficit, and just the furious nature of the finish?
Yeah, they did a good job getting back in the game, but we won. So I'm looking at the positive. We played at times brilliantly, and we couldn't sustain it. So, you know, it was closer than it should have been, but I give Sacramento a lot of credit. Mike's doing a great job with those guys. They're fighting. They're competing. They've had 3 close losses now to start the year. They've gotten a lot better, and we let our guard down, and they took advantage of it. But we got the win, and I'm pleased with that.
How much of your goal entering the fourth was to try to, you know, give the youth the whole quarter and not have to bring the veterans back in?
Yeah, I mean, it's always a balance. You know, I think Dante's injury kind of messed up, you know, the rotation a little bit, and put a lot of pressure on JP as a playmaker. And we had Clay's minutes restriction, so we went to him to start the fourth to try to get a little more offense out there. But I think the ball just stopped moving. I mean, we had 24 assists for the game. I think 8 in the second half. Ball completely stopped moving. Not just during the stretch, you know, when we were giving up the lead, but throughout the third quarter, I thought it was just one pass shot over and over again. So everything that happens during the game contributes to what happens later on. And, you know, we had several bad possessions that, even with our first unit, that set a bad tone. So tough. You know, tough sledding for that second group, but they'll get better, and it's a good experience for them.
Hamstring for Dante?
Hamstring for Dante. He won't go to Phoenix, and we'll reevaluate for the road trip, or for Miami, and then the road trip after that.
Gotcha.
Steve, what are your thoughts going into the half with, well, an 18-point lead, but giving up 71 points to the Kings in the half?
Well, it was a furious pace in the first half. But they spread you out, and De'Aaron Fox, you know, puts a lot of pressure on you. So the first half was, I thought we played really well. There were too many stretches where we fouled, and they get to the line, and now we have to play in the half court. So that was my biggest disappointment in the first half, was just the fouling. But otherwise, we had great flow, and the ball was moving. As I said, 16 assists first half. And then second half was a totally different story. We played very poorly and let our guard down, but, you know, we'll learn from that.
There was a play in the early fourth. I mean, you called timeout right after. You were particularly upset about it. Was it something that happened on that particular?
Transition defense, yeah. The main thing was just the lack of energy, you know. You got, you know, a group of reserves out there. Those guys should be dying to be on the floor and flying around and playing with huge energy, and that was what I was upset about. It was a careless transition defense possession. There was no juice, no life to that group, and you know, we're going to have to find what we're looking for in terms of energy and leadership. It's not, you know, entirely fair to them to, you know, put all those guys together, but it's a tough league. It's sink or swim, and you gotta figure it out.
To stay with the positive, Jordan did get going offensively more tonight with 24 points. What do you think about his game overall?
He was great. You know, he got to the rim, knocked down some threes, got to the foul line, did a lot of really good things for us.
And then some more earlier minutes tonight for Moses Moody. What do you think about him and his game overall, too?
Well, Moses does a good job out there understanding spacing and, you know, being in the right place, playing good defense. So Moses was fine. You know, he didn't really get anything going offensively, but he was a good, you know, a good part of our first half, getting the lead and you know, finding that flow offensively as a group.
His 14th season in tremendous physical shape. Looks like he mentioned in preseason media, he got in the gym earlier than usual, and it's really showing. His shot making is on point, and his playmaking. And he said, Bonte, you don't have to make a mistake defensively. These are tough shots. This little hesitation at the three-point line, And to score 89 in the first half, I do think they got lulled into a little lackadaisical second half. Once last game, the first half was lackadaisical, so still haven't put together 48 minutes of solid championship-level basketball. But it's coming. It's on the way.
It's a long season, and I think, Mully, how in shape do you have to be hitting all these shots? This is second quarter. This is third quarter. You had, what, 21 points in the second quarter?
21 points in the second quarter.
There was a lot of talk about during the NBA Finals, Steph's fitness level, because the way he can maintain his form through fatigue.
And look at this, Willie. He started his season with 3 consecutive 30-point games for the second time in his career. Did it in 2018-19, a season that ended in the NBA Finals against Toronto.
Well, he runs pick and roll with the basketball. He plays off the basketball, runs off multiple screens. His defense is much improved. He's guarding really well. He's always been a great rebounder. So he exerts a lot of physical energy each and every game. So it's a credit to his physical fitness, his dedication to nutrition, and it just keeps getting better and better.
Can't believe he's in his mid-30s, Festus.
Yeah, and to be honest, this is 14th season. It just keeps getting better. And for me, as a guy who came on the court and was affected by the gravitational pull of Steph Curry, it makes the game so much easier, right? You go set a screen for Steph, and I was talking about this with you during the game, how James Wiseman, once he learns how to set a screen in the NBA, because he's already a dynamic player. He's incredible. His touch is amazing. His feel for the game is incredible. But learning how to set a screen, especially when you're setting a screen for Klay Thompson and Steph Curry, for them to come off, because the defense has no choice but to respect Steph Curry coming off a ball screen wide open. And so I think that his game just makes the flow so much easier. That's why it's so hard for coaches to go over to the Sacramento Kings and try to replicate it, because you don't have this arsenal and this arsonist, I guess as you call it, with the heater with Steph Curry. Yeah.
Well, you hear so much about the Warriors' unique offensive style, which is read and react. So there's a reason Draymond and Kevon Looney are so good at setting those screens. They've played with these guys for so long. James Wiseman's trying to pick that up. So Steph Curry's always changing speed, changing direction. So as a screener, you've got to have an innate feel for where he's going to go. Yeah. Same thing with the basketball. Steph is always changing direction, stopping and going. So as a screener, you got to get a feel for what he's doing, and James Wiseman's working on that.
Comes with time. Comes with time. This is his 36th game in the NBA. For that, I mean, watching him play, he's a phenomenal player.
When you talk about the gravitational pull that Steph Curry helps other players, right? One guy who's benefiting from Steph Curry and all the gravity is Andrew Wiggins, and he's picked up where he left off in the NBA Finals. Andrew Wiggins had 13 points in the first quarter, setting the tone, going 6 of 8. He finished with 24 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. And again, everybody keeps talking about how Andrew Wiggins just feels comfortable. We forget that he was a 23, 24-point point per game scorer in Minnesota. He's picking up right where he left off in the playoffs.
His efficiency level is much improved. And you talk about adding to your game. Andrew Wiggins was in the gym this summer. I'm not quite sure he publicized it. I can watch him and tell you, the first play of the game tonight, they ran Andrew Wiggins at the point guard. Came off a pick and roll, knocked down a mid-range jumper. His three-point shot is much improved. He has worked on his game. Yes, this is a better fit for him, skill-wise, personality-wise, all those things. But he's a much improved basketball player. He's playing at an all-star level once again. He's off to a great start.
There's something to be said for stability as well. Right? Andrew Wiggins had to go through 4 coaches while he was in Minnesota. And so he was a 20-point-a-game scorer, but he was never an all-star. Right. He came to the Warriors and got fit right into the system, because his game is what? Getting to the rack. He knows where he's getting his shots, the turnaround mid-range post, mid-range jump shot, the